Welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm usually much closer to the camera. We'll see how this goes. I felt like lounging today. I felt like trying something new. And this is just a casual story time anyway, so I feel like we should get comfortable and just make this a safe place, right? But anyway, this video I wanted to focus on gay friendships. I feel like this used to be a much bigger topic on my channel. Some of you might remember stories that I've shared over the years, particularly toxic gay friendships that I've had. And I recently realized that I've had quite an evolution with gay friendships. Um, in my early 20s, I was so thirsty. I was so desperate for a group of gay friends. And I think it's because I would see it, right? You see it going out to bars and restaurants and so on. You see a lot of gay cliques. And I guess what I really was longing for was a community of people who maybe had similar childhoods, right? Childhood trauma, that, there's complexities and nuances to the gay experience that really you only understand as a gay person. And I guess I longed for that so badly, to have a community to identify with. But I was so disappointed over the years throughout my 20s because I found it very difficult to organically develop gay friendships. Oftentimes it would seem like a friendship on the surface, but then, attraction would play a role. And so you realize maybe the friendship isn't really a friendship, or the other person has an agenda. And once they realize it can't go romantic or sexual, it's like they discard you. I feel like that's something that anybody can relate to. You don't have to be gay to relate to that. But I spent my 20s always sort of troubled by this idea of the people you want to build a community with also happen to be the men, the people that you're attracted to, the gender that you're attracted to, right? And so that complicates everything. Anyway, so the point is, I eventually just stopped trying, and I shared stories on this channel years ago of a few very toxic gay friendships that I had, and I look back and I can't even believe that I allowed myself to be friends with people like that. But I also realize now that when you're sort of in a desperate state of mind and you're lonely, whether it's dating or platonic or whatever, you attract people who, in a more secure place in life, you wouldn't entertain them. You wouldn't spend time with them because you don't feel good after spending time with them, right? So I eventually, in retrospect, I realize now today that I got rid of those friends. Like, some of them, some of the friendships just faded organically, but I stopped being around people who don't make me feel good, particularly, gay men who had that effect. And over the years, I organically built strong friendships with gay men. And it's ironic that I wanted that so badly, but it's like people always say that once you stop trying so hard and you stop thinking and you just live your life, right? People come into your life in random, bizarre ways. I have a close friend now in Miami who I met at a random dinner. I think we were the only gay men there, by the way. So it wasn't like a gay event or anything like that. And I had just moved to Miami, and we just kind of clicked, and he was a nice guy. And I have a similar story with a good friend who lives in Los Angeles, where you kind of just meet without trying to meet. And it starts off as just a new person in your area. And then eventually you realize, oh, and we share similar values, and he's a nice person, like a genuinely nice person, and he's reliable. And eventually you develop these close friendships that otherwise, if you had a door completely closed, you would have never, it would have never developed into that, right? So I think a lot of it too with friendships is both people have to be open to the same kind of dynamic. And I think that's how close friendships develop, that both people have to, somewhere deep in their subconscious, they have an openness to a closer connection. And maybe we're all like that to an extent. I think, human beings, we're all social creatures. We crave connection. But don't you feel like certain times in your life, you're more open or less open to meeting new people. And when I say meeting new people, I don't mean literally, hi, nice to meet you. I mean allowing them into your life, allowing the wall to come down to go to brunch together or whatever. So, anyway, I've been reflecting on all this, the idea of how I spent my 20s so desperately longing for this idea of a gay community and never finding it. And ironically, it gradually, slowly developed. Although most of my gay friends don't really have much in common with each other, some of them haven't even met. It's more so like these one on one friendships in completely different avenues of my life. I guess what I'm trying to say is I now have a circle of close gay friends, but it's not this circle where everybody knows each other. It's more like a circle within my own life. And I'm sure they have the same thing where they have, their gay friends from other backgrounds, but it's not literally, a friend group where everybody knows each other. It's the community that I needed. Even if they don't know each other, even if it's not a friend group, they all play a role, puzzle piece in my longing for that commonality and that understanding, I see you, you see me kind of thing, that I think all people in minority groups want to have with others, especially groups that aren't family based, right? Like ethnicity, race, culture, religion. Typically, you have that with your own family, right? You grow up with people who look like you and so on. The gay thing is this elusive thing where for most of us, we don't grow up with allies. We don't grow up with people who relate to that experience. So we spend time in life looking for that. And based on how I finally attracted that after really not trying to, it makes me wonder again, this idea of like, do things that you want or people you want to attract in your life, does it only happen when you stop obsessing, right? Or stop caring or stop trying? I've always found gay friendships very tricky, and I've talked about this on my channel before in previous videos, that with gay friendships sometimes I feel like there's a competition, a competitiveness between gay men. Sometimes of course there's romantic or sexual interest between gay men, and that of course complicates the genuineness of a friendship. But here and there you find people who actually share the same values as you, have similar parallels in life, whether it's lack of understanding from their own families, whether it's trying to navigate the world and, work environments as the only gay person. uh, and it's a beautiful thing to finally encounter people who you share that with. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this and gay friendships. How has it been for you? Did you have you had a similar difficulty building and maintaining genuine gay friendships? And did you also find that eventually you kind of find your own people? Or do you still find it to be very challenging to have genuine friendships with other gay men? Let me know in the comments, and catch you guys next time.